He often said that a good Liberal candidate dresses right and talks left. And the point is, I suppose, is if you're in coalition with the Tories, you are dressing right in spades. And so what you need to do is not to be panicky in your language, not to go over the top in your language, but to even more demonstrate the radicalism that makes us different. And you know, I used a line last night, to be all of us committed to the coalition, but be besotted with our party and with our ideology, to make sure we're absolutely clear why we've got into politics. Yeah, we're pluralists, but actually we're traditionalists as well. You know, we are very much like a family. I mean, doing the rally speech, I actually love doing the rally speech when I get a chance to do it, because it's like being the best family. It is, because you're talking to a family. You know, we understand one another, and we're coming from a similar page. And our ideology, are we a broad church? I don't think we are at all, actually. We're a pretty narrow church. Orange bookers, social liberals, not a right lot between us, to be honest. It's invented by people who want to see a chasm because those things are interesting to write about. Right? It's not necessarily true at all. But we should be committed, and we should be tribal, we should be partisan. And I just want to mention the B word, Barnsley. I had a very profitable evening. I was thinking of, trying to write it off, and sort of, trivialise it in some way. And, as a Blackburn Rovers fan, coming sixth, we dream of coming sixth. But it's shocking. Don't at all for 1 minute forget that was a really poor result. And why was it poor? Because we went into it naked, without a message, really, without a reason to vote for us. Were we the main party of government to vote for if you were in favour of the government? No. Did we have a track record locally where you could back the hard work of local councillors? No. Were we the vestige of a protest vote if you didn't like what was going? Clearly not. It's actually staggering, we got 4%. And I don't mean to flippant, but that is a dangerous message for us. Now, okay, we can go back to Oldham 7 weeks previously, where we got an outstanding result. And the figures don't bear out anything you said, Dr. Cheffington. It looks like we lost less than 1,000 votes. Less than 1,000 Liberal Democrat voters went to the Liberal Party. A lot of them stayed at home. And we got precious few direct switches from the Tories. We got a relatively small number of direct switches from the Tories. But it was significant. I certainly buy that line. And certainly, Tories are more likely to vote tactically for the Liberal Democrats now than they ever did before the coalition. But don't buy the line that somehow we lost 2/3 of our vote and the Tories plugged the gap. All the figures do not back that up in the slightest bit. But there are a lot of people who are disappointed or uncertain or confused or just generally quite, panicky and negative about the future. Those people did not go to Labour. They stayed at home, fretting, and they were very hard to get out and vote. So we need to be aware that Oldham was the best result for a government party in a by-election in 30 years. Which against the backdrop of things now, it's pretty blooming staggering. It took the Falklands War to achieve the last one. So we could do with Sarkozy invading somewhere, but I just want to say, in terms of our language, it's very, very important. I don't think everybody in the party agrees with me on this, but I don't believe in letting Labour off the hook for 1 minute. But I also think it is wrong to be too shrill in our criticism of the last Labour government. The last thing we need to do is to use the language of the Tories. We need to attack Labour, but we need to be doing it from a radical standpoint. The transformation in 12 months from the economics of Thatcher to the economics of Scargill is just bloody ridiculous. I find it just, as you look at and see along you're in the TV studio, what troubles Labour the most is when you attack them from the left. From an entire, and there's plenty of evidence to do that. And we need to do that. So we need to be teasing Labour, ridiculing them. We need to be reminding them of the 10p tax rate. We need to be reminding them of Iraq, of the authoritarianism, of ID cards, of detention without trial. They're appalling things even Mrs Thatcher wouldn't do. and what Trident means, not just in terms of the waste of billions of pounds, but in the fact that it would be an act of aggression in an unstable world. So we need to be doing those things, but don't use the same language as the Tories. It's important that if we talk about new politics, we can't then look desperately, shrill and tribal towards one party and then all collegiate towards another. I think it's important in terms of our distinctiveness actually to show that coalition works so, and it is seen to do so. We perhaps need to be more partisan within it, But if I can characterise, we talk about the new politics and the old politics, well, let's call it good and bad politics instead. The bad old politics is where people who believe in absolutely flipping nothing put their fingers in the air, lift their finger in the air and see which way the wind's blowing and say, that's what I'll do, Blairite politics. People who believe nothing, except in winning the next election if they can, but then fight with the most rancorous unpleasantness between one another to achieve power, to achieve absolutely nothing, it would appear. That's the bad old politics. Surely the good new politics is where people believe passionately in what they believe in, but will actually treat one another in a grown-up and collegiate manner. Now that surely is what we should be about. I have no problem at all. I think it's wonderful. And it's taught me a lesson. I mean, I said it's good to be tribal, but actually the coalition has taught me a few things. One of which is that actually, I was being a bit too tribal perhaps. And the Tories, for all that the enemy for the whole of my life, and surely they will be for the rest of my life, because still, they're just about, check the DNA, they are just about human.